Welcome back to I Now Pronounce You Divorced, Malone Hatley PC's podcast, where each week we come together to talk about things that our clients and potential clients are going through. And this week we're joined by a special guest. And Kristin, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself, what you do, and we can go from there.
Well, thank you so much. My name is Kristin Ward. I'm the development director for Judeo-Christian Outreach Center in Virginia Beach.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about what you do in your role.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much for having me on this podcast and for Allison inviting me to be a part of this. It's truly awesome. We look forward to our partnership with Malone Hatley and just all the great things that you guys are doing in the services, and you're caring for many families throughout Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads, and beyond. But JCOC, our Judeo-Christian Outreach Center, we have been helping those that are experiencing homelessness and hunger for 39 years. We just celebrated our 39th anniversary. And we do that through hunger relief programs as well as housing support.
Nice. So there's kind of a broad question, and so answer how you think it is best. But how do you see divorce affecting and contributing to housing instability and even homelessness?
Great question. I actually, when I was looking at the list of questions that I was provided, it really made me think. I did some prep and thought, how have we really seen that effect? And we have a community dinner and a food pantry that goes on throughout the week. We help those with community dinner. You and I can walk in Monday through Friday, no questions asked. Anybody can come. And then we have a food pantry Tuesdays and Saturday mornings from 10 until noon. And to answer your question, we have been seeing an increase in families, and direct correlation would be, unfortunately, those that are going through divorce or separated, leaving a violent situation. And that goes for men and women that are taking their children and leaving those situations and finding a better situation for themselves and their families. So definitely seeing an increase in the need for food, as well as I know that there's a certain month supposedly that there's more divorces than others, or people are doing they're deciding some hard decisions certain months of the year, and we definitely in the last couple months have seen an increase. And we know just from the conversations that our volunteers and our staff have that unfortunately these families are going through some pretty awful things.
Mm-hmm. There was an article in the Washington Post, I think it was 3 years ago, about Great Falls, Virginia, one of the by far richest parts of our state. And there was a particular parking lot where a bunch of people slept in their cars because they were going through divorce. They slept in their cars. And these were individuals that were making high six figures a year. You know, they were used to living in like 12,000 square foot houses, and now they're living in their cars. So it's not always obvious, but what are some of the first signs that you see that a family going through divorce might experience housing instability?
Absolutely. So from our experience in talking with those that we serve, them having to even humble themselves and come, and they're driving up in maybe a Lexus, or they're driving up in a Hummer, they're driving up in, a luxury car, not the minivan of old, or not a jalopy, if you will. So that's one of the first things that we see, is somebody coming up and with their kids or just themselves, and they've had a major life experience, whether it was a medical travesty, a job loss, and a divorce. So definitely seeing that would be one of the first things that we see is somebody driving up in a really nice car and needing community dinner, and just coming up and saying, I'm here, I don't know what to do. How can you help me?
Speaking of help, how does organizations such as yours step in when families are in crisis?
We step in many different ways. JCOC does, and then we also partner with many nonprofits and businesses and the community and the city as well to provide services. So even though Judeo-Christian Outreach Center, we provide the hunger relief and the homeless support services, we also have a broad network of other resources that we will wrap around, such as mental health or substance abuse or financial care or job placement. We have all of those resources, and we will make sure by providing that relationship or by doing that relationship and meeting this person and talking with them and not just shoving a to-go meal and saying, hey, have a great day. Our people really try to talk with those that are coming up and seeing what they do need. And sometimes they might not even know what they need, right? They're like, okay, well, this is what's going on. I'm going through a divorce. I have a lawyer. I have people that are helping me representation. But right now, I don't have, rent's coming up or my mortgage is coming up and my spouse is not there anymore. And I'm down to a one house income, or I didn't have to work before and now I have to go work and I'm still trying to find a job. I need help.
And when you get to the point where you finally say, I need help, that's one point. But what do you see is truly the barriers that exist that prevent people from seeking help earlier? Maybe prevent them from understanding, like, hey, I need help now versus I needed help 3 months ago.
No one expects to become in that situation, right? And I think that point is humbling yourself, coming to that realization, oh my goodness, I really can't do it myself. I really can't. I thought my family was going to help me. I thought my friends were going to help me. Initially, our friends and family, our community, those that are close to us can, but sometimes, depending on what the situation is, they get burned out, right? Or they don't know exactly what to do. And they're just like, okay, well, it'll go away. It'll go away. Well, that problem's not going away. I'm going through a divorce and that problem's not going away. I can't just magically have a second income all of a sudden that'll pay that mortgage. That mortgage payment's going to come up and, months go by and I'm still not paying my mortgage and then I get evicted or I have to leave. So I think, does that answer your question a little bit? I think it's the humility, and I think it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know this was going to happen to me and I didn't know it was going to get this bad.
It does, and when we think about humility, it's also having the knowledge of it's not going to magically get better tomorrow. Things take time.
Usually a divorce doesn't happen just overnight, right? It happens, a relationship starts failing, and then there's as many reasons for divorce as there's stars under the sky, right? I say the same thing about homelessness and hunger. Nobody ever expects that they're going to become homeless and experience that. There's so many different reasons for it. It's not a cut and dry thing.
You're so spot on. And then trying to find the resources, especially if someone's been waiting to see, okay, am I going to be able to make this happen? Or then when it's not, to your point, they're driving up like, I have no idea what to do now. I don't have a home, or I can't afford the home that I'm in. What would you suggest for whether it's family law attorneys or financial planners? What kind of role can they play in connecting these types of families with housing resources?
Great question. Exactly what you all are doing. You're reaching out to the community partners and nonprofits and saying, hey, we want to help. I know here in Virginia Beach, we have what's called a pocket pal, and it's for those that are housed and unhoused. And we have those pocket pals, and it's online as well, where we can give those resources to anybody that comes up to our programs. We also work with the food bank, and the food bank has you just simply put your zip code and you can see a list of food banks that come up. So having those resources to the attorneys and different partners that we have, having all those resources and just giving them to you like our resource guide. So when you have a client that asks those questions, or they don't even ask those questions, they don't know again what they're facing, be like, hey, you might need this. If you do, here they are. If you don't, no worries. Hopefully you never do.
It's like you spoke earlier, you kind of don't know where you're at until it's already too late, right? It's like when you need something, you can't find it. So what are some of the success stories you can share where you were able to catch a family before they finally got that far down?
I have a great story for you all prepared, actually. I'm going to say a different person's name, but say her name is Susie, okay? She is a mother of more than 6 children, and she had to leave a violent situation last year. She took care of the kids. She didn't work outside the home. And so when she left, she left. She didn't have anything. She started coming to our community dinner every night, and we gave them 9 meals every night. And without that, they would have experienced homelessness. Thankfully, they never got to that point through us and through other services that they were able to get. But now they're in a place of their own. She has a vehicle for the kids, and she has a job. So, and her children range in age, so the older ones can legally and good take care of the younger ones when she's working. But yeah, I mean, we have their community, their church community, and different people have rallied. And so when she's at work and is working over community dinner time from 5 to 6, there's another adult that comes and picks up the nine meals and drops them off. So it's a community effort, right? So that's just one story, and we also had a partner that wanted to give last Christmas specifically to a struggling family, a large struggling family, and this family that I've been speaking of came to our minds, and we connected them, and this family, Susie's family, was able to have an amazing Christmas too. So it's just we're preventing homelessness. That's what JCOC does, is not only do we help those that are experiencing homelessness, single adults that are experiencing homelessness, but we're helping anybody that is food insecure, no matter who you are. And that prevents homelessness.
Wow, that's amazing. Thanks for sharing. I always like hearing these success stories.
Yeah.
Kind of shifting a little bit, but adding on to, I mean, being single and going through this is stressful enough. But then when you're a single parent, that most likely compounds all the stress.
Mm-hmm.
So how do single families or single parents, where they're going through this type of a process, get access to these resources? Because I'm sure they're feeling overwhelmed. They're probably extremely stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of roadmap would you suggest and kind of guide them through?
That's a tough one, because again, there's so many different avenues. It's like your veins in your body, there's so many different things, and then they all go up to your heart, or they all go down to your foot, that kind of thing. I think the roadmap that I would suggest is check with your attorney, your legal team, and see how they can help. Also, if you're involved in a place of worship, check with them. Check with the food bank, even though you might not need food yet, or might never need food, which would be great. Check with them and their resources and see what they can do. Also, if you're a single parent, check with your guidance counselors and your kids' counselors at school, and see what kind of resources that they might have, because they're a great resource.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's wonderful, Kristin, being able to talk to you. And, so frequently what we do results in people, single family homes will have problems at some point. And knowing that there's resources out there for them is very nice. So I want to thank you very much for joining us today to talk about these resources to really help people get to that next point in their life. And hopefully our listeners will find your contact information below and be able to reach out when they truly need help.
Definitely. Thank you. Yeah, please go to jcoc.org for information, or call our number 757. We'd love to help you. And if we don't have the right help, we definitely have a network that we will be more than happy to pass along.
Well, thank you very much. We look forward to y'all joining us next time.
Thank you for this opportunity.